What's going on, everybody? This is the Just Like Bruddas podcast. I'm Kai Jones.
I'm like Bibi, and
We have a special guest here today.
Coach Brooks.
the man, that's you, yeah. Steve Brooks,
our first coach of the year.
Yeah, I know, right? It's awesome. We finally made it to the big time. We have a head coach of one of the best football teams in Wayne County this year here with us.
Actually, I mean, you could argue the best team in Wayne County after
Wayne County champs.
Yeah,
that's correct. They did win the Wayne County title this year. But Coach Brooks, you guys, your Golden Falcon squad had one heck of a season.
7-5.
7-5, first round of the playoffs. But you guys had some high quality wins. What has kind of been the key to this 2019 season success?
I just think we had a group of guys that really came together, worked really hard. They really believed in, this has been that group that's been coming for a long time now. And then when I first got the job, and I think they bought into the all-in mentality a long time ago, and they were just waiting their turn. And we had a heck of an off season, which any coach will tell you that's where everything is built. It's not built in August. It's not built in June and July. It's built in January to May, really. And we had a group of kids that that there's a lot of difficulties they have to overcome at ACOC as far as how we get scheduling and things like that done. But we made it work. We got great coaching staff that stayed unbelievable hours to make sure kids got their lifts in and that they were able to work around all the sports that we encourage them to play, not just be one sport athletes. And we had some big wins. We ran through a tornado there in the middle of the season, but I would take our schedule up against a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people didn't beat New Bern, a lot of people didn't beat Conley, and Rose was kind of up and down. They got hot there at the end of the year. But I think if you go back and look at our schedule, we beat everybody we were supposed to beat. And then, we were fortunate enough, we got another 4A win beating South Central and had a great year. So Wayne County champs, we beat everybody in our county that wanted to play us. And, and there's some tremendous football in this town. Y'all know that, y'all cover it. So, just happy and with the success we had, now we got to build on it and continue to climb that mountain.
Today I'm putting together a top 10 games of the year that I've covered. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, gosh, there's like 4 or 5 games that I could put ACOC in.
ACOC Rose game was probably one of them. I mean, it just went right down to the final seconds.
Unfortunately, I wasn't there for that.
So you're basing it off of the games you've seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My fault.
Yeah, but talk about like your schedule a little bit. I mean, it's pretty much been the same for the better part of 5 to 7 years. How did y'all kind of come up with the concept of just playing pretty much all local teams? And I mean, pretty much every week, me and Avio, we had to be there because 2 county teams are playing pretty much every week.
Well, the way it's set up, when I got there 7 years ago was, you were going to play Rosewood because that's ACOC's rival.
Right.
And we used to play, it was Rosewood, and then Green Central, from what I've been told, is the longest rivalry high school football game in the state of North Carolina. So that's why they've always been on the schedule. And then everything else was just built into, the cost of athletics now with high school sports. It doesn't do us good, and it doesn't do our whole county any good if we were going to get on a bus, and we already get on a bus and go to New Bern and go to Rose and Conley. So what good does it do to put us on a bus and go to Wake County or go down toward Wilmington or somewhere like that, especially with the tough conference that we play in? So it's best for our athletic department to play in town, and it's best for our community and our county to play in town. So that's why we play Goldsboro. We play, in Eastern Wayne, Southern Wayne's in our deal. But North Lenoir ran into a scheduling conflict a few years ago, so that's where we turned into playing. We play North Johnson now, but we played Eastern Wayne as a non-conference and a conference, and this year we played. We played everybody local that we could get to play us, and it works out because if you've been on an ACOC football game, our communities do such a tremendous job of following,
Yes, they do.
And kids will tell you at the end of the day when they turn around and they're at a visiting game and their side of the stands is just as full as the home side, it gives you an advantage, and our kids absolutely love playing for the people in our community. I mean, they eat it up, and our community absolutely loves us. I mean, I can tell you that we've got a church that feeds us every Friday night, and we don't go without. and most churches feed on Thursday night for our JV team. So, you know, we have a community aspect that they really support our football team. And, you know, and the other thing is we don't need to travel to play good competition. There's such great competition here in this county.
Yes.
So why get on a bus and cost more money when we can play just as, you know, good as anybody in the playoffs? I mean, heck, there was, 3 or 4 of us that were in the playoffs this year from this county, right? So, I mean, we don't need to go anywhere to play great competition, and our schedule proves it.
Right. You know, but I think it kind of makes it kind of fun when you're like, you know, for the kids, when you're just playing guys who, like, you've pretty much grown up playing against at middle school, you know, the entire time. You know, so what was it like, you know, trying to also control that type of thing?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I like that they get up for that. You know, it's, you know, a lot, I guess people would call it control. I don't control it. You know, I want them to have a respect level for the people they're playing, and I don't want them to give bulletin board material. But I would rather it be, if they're playing Jimmy from down the street, then they know Jimmy inside and out, and they're going to be excited instead of playing Joe that's 4 or 5 counties away that they got no idea about. And I think sometimes when you look at our conference, that's where our kids get lost a little bit, you know, and, you know, they don't know the kids in Green. No, you know, so you take South Central, you take Greenville Rose, and you take Conley. Those kids see each other in the mall. They see each other at ECU games.
Yep.
And it is constant, and that's why everybody talks about the Rose Conley rivalry. And it's not, it's basketball, it's football, it's baseball, it's girls volleyball, it's everything.
Yes,
and then, you know, then you throw South Central in the mix, and how really they've gotten so much better in football. I mean, they won a conference championship. You know what their basketball team does, girls and boys. Their baseball team is improving, and I mean, they're in girls sports, they kick tail too. So in and New Bern's not far from Greenville in the big scheme of things. So you put that mixture together, those kids know each other. So that's why those Friday nights are big. And then it's kind of like for us in Eastern Wayne and Southern Wayne, our kids kind of get lost and they don't know those Jimmies and Joes. But when you talk about playing in this county, I don't control it because I want them as hype all week. And the way I tell them is, you can't win the game on Monday. Yeah. So you got to control yourself to that you're peaking as Tiger Woods used to say, peak. You know, we want to peak on Friday night, and our kids did a great job of peaking at the right times this year.
All right. Speaking of Tiger Woods, you're a big golf enthusiast, aren't you?
Huge, yeah.
You know, so how did the birth of love of golf come about?
Just playing with my dad. I grew up a coach's son.
Wow.
So my dad would, summers, the coaches, they'd go to the golf course and play, and I got to tag along, and that's why my 2 little knuckleheads, they tag along with me. And I just love it. I mean, and it's a great getaway on Sundays and Saturdays if you want a nap. And sometimes, you can. I don't.
Well, like this guy golfs.
I do. Okay. Yes, I'm not.
Tee it up.
I'm not that good, but I've taken it up, and
Hey, you got a coach right here. Let's go.
Absolutely.
And I've got
both in Greenville.
But here's the thing, though. You don't have to. Golf is a thing where you don't have to be good to have a good time.
That is true.
And
yes,
you can ask a lot of coaches. They're not good, but we have a good time. We go and there's a lot of coaches that there's a lot of coaches I play with at ACOC that we are that are really good, and they're really competitive. And you think that we're me and Alan Thomas are competitive. He's competitive at baseball and I'm competitive at football. You can put us together on. We've told people before, if you want to play me and Alan for golf, just bring your checkbook. And there's nobody has taken him and I up on it yet. So a lot of people chirp, but so if you're out there and want to play Coach Thomas and I, you just bring your coach's check and.
Gauntlet's been thrown down here.
Kind of like Tiger and Phil. So.
You work with Coach Cornwell for a while. Yeah. Does he golf?
We got him out there playing golf. Yeah. Now we used to play some at Aiden Grifton. We had the Scholarship Foundation. They buy all the Letterman jackets at Aiden Grifton High School. So they have this huge golf tournament in the spring. It's a Super Bowl golf tournament, and our principal there at the time and our AD made sure we had subs, so we didn't have to teach that day. It was the coaching staff, football, basketball, baseball, girls sports, everything went to the golf course because that was our major fundraiser for those kids to get the Letterman jacket. So yeah, me and Coach Cornwell, he was always with me, and we had 3 others, and he really was the putter of the group. You know, we would win, and people would come up. And
it makes sense. He's a short game.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah,
and he's sneaky about it. You know, so people
I'm
would come up.
I'm the putter too with my friends. So
see, and I can't punt. So Coach Thomas is my dude. You know, he rolls, he drains them. You know, I put us out there, and he knocks them in. But that was the thing. People would come up and say, well, "We know Paul doesn't play golf, so how did y'all win?" And it's like he's the magic. You know, he makes all the putts within
He makes when it counts. When it really counts, he's got to have it. You know,
so, not only is he a good football coach, he's a putt champion.
Right. And speaking of golf, which does both of your sons play, or is just one of your sons?
Yeah, both of them play. And
I know I called you over the summer, and you were on the way to a golf tournament.
Yeah, my 12-year-old got to play in some tournaments this summer, and he really he's taken all the other sports he plays. He's taken a love to playing it, and God, he kept me at the golf course just about all summer, and he was always constant. Can we go hit balls? Can we go hit balls? And I'm like, God bless. But at the same time, I didn't have to say, hey, go get your clubs, let's go. He was making me go get mine, and really that's probably where my game improved the most, because he'd hit his bucket, and then he'd walk there'd be no one there, and he'd walk the driving range and pick him up with another bucket, and I'm like, it's getting dark, dude. It's like 8:30. He's like, I want to hit my, and he asked me one time, he said, can you go turn the car lights on? Because we play at Ironwood, and so they have that.
Ironwood is,
so he was
Ironwood's it's
like,
East Golf Course.
Oh, yeah, okay. It was like close to 9 o'clock. And he's like, can you just go turn the car lights on so I can finish hitting this bucket? I'm like, I've chipped enough balls on the chipping area that, I'm like, I'm ready to go home. And he's like, can you go turn the car lights on? But no, the funny thing about them two is they want to play me. So at one point this summer when we started, they were getting a shot a hole. But then they want to play each other. So they're on a team, and they're literally fighting going down the fairway with each other. To the point where I just told him, I said, get out of the cart. You're not riding with me. And so they're fighting as a team. I call him Justin Hayes. He calls him he calls him Justin Thomas and Jordan Speed. That's his little nickname for him. And so they go down the fairway just talking trash to each other and just like fighting, literally, at the golf course. And I'm like, I'm the parent over here going, okay, not my kids, I'm just watching, babysitting. But so they get a shot a hole, and they would get up there on the green, and one of the little one, he's as fiery as anybody I've ever been around, and he'd roll putt in. And they're over there now, fist pumping like, Team USA. They're like, we got the building. We got Dad.
Ryder Cup in the building.
Yeah, we're one up, Dad. So it was always fun for them to go and we would play here. We played at Ironwood, or we would play here at Langtree. The guys at Langtree would really, like, all right, boys, how'd it go today? And they're like, Dad's buying drinks. Dad, he's got us. So they loved to fight with each other, and they would talk junk to each other all the way home about who beat who. But then at the end of the day, it was like, well, we got Daddy. So
that's all that mattered.
Yeah, that's all that mattered.
Right. So, as a coach's son, was this something that you always want to do, is become a coach?
Yeah. Okay. Well, my dad tried numerous times to talk me out of it.
Okay.
And there's other things
out of it. Oh wow, that's
but I just couldn't do it. Now there's so many things though that everybody thinks, oh, well, I'm just a coach, so all I do is like sports and coaching's all I do. But I've done the radio stuff. I love this podcast stuff y'all are doing. I have so many other interests away from just coaching that I think that's why it has. I can say at least in the last 10 years, I've learned to take other interests, and it keeps me close to the game, but it allows me not to be burned out. Now I'm not, I might go do a football game on radio, but I know walking into the stadium, I'm drinking a Mountain Dew, I'm relaxing and go shaking a couple of hands with coaches, joke around a little bit, go upstairs, do the radio thing, and then when that game's over with, I get in my car, I got no stress, and do whatever I want to do, And it's
don't have to clean up the field.
No, I'm close to the game. No laundry, so I'm close to the game, but I'm stress free. Go get a candy bar, whatever.
Yeah, you've done work with WGBR throughout the playoffs, throughout the season, really.
I'm about to say he was out there for Rosewood, North Duplin.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's fun doing it with those guys. That stuff, because it's stuff that I've always really, really liked, and never had the opportunity. And my family or my dad or my mom would always, I would mention things before announcers did in games, and then they would announce them on TV, and they're like, "Didn't you just say that?" And so it's kind of giving me that platform to kind of go enjoy and do some of that stuff. And I kind of joke around with it on social media. That's going to be my retirement plan is doing some radio and stuff like that.
Yeah, like a lot of coaches have made
Yeah.
They became even bigger legends in commentary.
John Gruden, best one right there.
Spider to our man, yeah.
That's right.
All right, so when you look at coaching, how different is it now compared to when you first started?
All right, so here's a great story.
Okay.
So my first or second year, probably my first year at ACOT, we did my dad was coming to all the games, but what was special about this was, and obviously, my dad didn't have breast cancer. My dad had throat cancer. But it was the very first pink out game we did as a coach at ACOT. And he was there, and my dad, when I would go to practice, my dad was an O-line coach. So I never hung out with my dad at all. Hardly ever. Every once in a while. But I was always down there with the quarterbacks. And I was a Spurrier guy. So it was wear the visor. My dad's a hat. My dad was a head baseball coach.
Okay,
and an O-line coach, so it's like wear the hat.
The whole ball coach hat.
So he would give me just complete grief about wanting to be down there with the quarterbacks, O-linemen, that's where the game's won, run the football, blah, 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 blah. None of that stuff that I do or like to do.
Yeah.
So he thinks.
You're air raid,
So we were playing Southern Wayne, and it was actually a close game. I mean, I think we won it with like 19 seconds to go. But I had looked up at him in the stands a couple times, and he kind of gave me that motion. I'm like, I know my dad's not telling me to throw it, So, but I looked at right before the last possession. I heard him say, "Don't forget about the screen," and it popped in my head, and I was thinking about it, and I remember Randy Pate walked up to me. We were in 2x2, and he said, "Don't forget about what your dad said to you." And so I caught a middle screen that went like 70 yards for the game winner to Neil Clark, and it was this crazy moment. And I was like, my dad's beat throat cancer. He's here. We're doing a pink out. It was all one of those.
It just came together. It was just a fitting ending, right?
Yeah. But then he waited all year to this particular night, which I still hadn't figured out that why. But he came up to me and he said, when you're getting that 2x2 stuff, he's like, and you sling it around, he goes, "That's some good stuff." And I'm like, "Who are you?" Because you're a believer in getting the eye and pound the rock. He's like, "I really like when you're getting that 2x2 stuff and you sling it." And I'm like, "You're not my dad. I don't know who you are, but he's like, he's like, "That screen, that was a great call." I said, "Well, you made that call, dude." I said, "That's all them years of coaching." And so that's the,
So
my dad's.
I'm pretty sure he was the only one who's ever got to call play from the sidelines.
Definitely has. The years, so that was year 2. Year 3, he actually wore the headsets for me.
Oh, okay.
And he was just, he would he didn't know exactly what to say. And there was some jokes and stuff and things like that. And I said, "Look, man, I just need to know how they're aligned." And I said, "If you want to call plays, great." I said, but he goes, No, I don't want to call any plays. But then he would chirp in and "Don't forget about this." So as the season went long, it was like, I was like, "Do you just want a play sheet?" But those were good times. I mean, and that's been the great thing about being at ACOT is, we play in a tough conference. We have some things that we have to navigate through. But not once has my athletic director, whether it's Charles Davis or John Horton, or any of my coaches for that matter, none of them have ever said, "We don't like it when you leave to go watch your kids play." They've all actually been very, very much for it. Charles was great about he knew my dad was they knew each other. He was a retired coach, but they never, not once, someone didn't have a problem with my dad being on the headset. So I mean, and John's been the same way. He's been so supportive, just like Charles has, and there's a lot of places that I could have probably gone that wouldn't be that supportive. So been lucky to be around some good people that allowed me to see my kids play, my kids to be on the sideline running up and down, and my dad to be a part of our deal too. So
right. You know, the one thing that Chris Miller always tells me, he likes to keep you close just in case you ever make that return to that area. What is it about ACOC that, you know, other than that, well, I should say, is that really kind of the biggest reason why, you know, coach leaving hasn't kind of entered your mind?
Yeah, that the people that are the people that are in my inner circle here that I am close. But I've never been a job jumper. I mean, if you look at my resume, I've been at places for 7 or 8 years before I go somewhere. So I've never been that guy that's got, you know, I'll listen, and because out of respect, if you have enough respect for me, you'll call me. I'm going to listen to what you have to say. But to this point, it's just been about relationships and people, and that's why I haven't left. You know, and my kids are great kids. They do what I ask them to do. I work with some tremendous coaches. You know, I really work with some great dudes. And like I said, you know, if I tell them I got to go watch Nate or Connor play, they never go and say, well, we lost that game because Coach Brooks left to go watch his kids play. And there's nobody in the community that's ever said that to me. So it's hard to go do that. But then, you know, the other thing is you do listen to people, and I've listened to people back home. And one of the hardest jobs to turn down was you know, very similar to Roy, not coming back to Carolina, and not comparing myself to Roy, but not going back to Carolina the first time was that 16 class I had, or the 16 group, you know, with Flowers and Damian and Chandler. It literally would have broke my heart to, as much as I did want to go home, and what Richlands means to me, and where I got my start, and I hurt some people a lot when I told them no. I could not have imagined myself not coaching that group. They were just they had done too much to that point. So yeah, you know, Chris calls me if anything in Onslow County, but things are different there now for me too. I mean, both my grandparents have passed in the last year. Yeah, my mom's still there, my aunts and things like that. And I have some close friends, but you know, some things have changed there too. So you know, my mom can get to where I'm at just as easy. You know, the roads are much better travel now and you know, or she doesn't have to be there every Friday night to know that she support me. And obviously my grandparents, I know they got a front row seat every week now. So you know, so things change in life and relationships. So that's why I'm not left ACOC. It's just it's got to be it's gonna have to be a perfect situation for me, my family.
All right. You know, one thing I think about too when you say that, you talk about how this senior class was really supportive of you during those tough times. You know, what was it like, you know, having your players kind of really embrace you like that as well?
I had always heard about it, and but to actually, you know, you feel them put their arms around you. We knew it was one of those things where we really, you talk about getting in a foxhole with somebody and knowing that person has got your back. And this group, that's really what, you know, were there not times that I got fiery mad at them? Yeah. Were there not times they were probably really ticked off with me? Absolutely. But they knew at the end of the day, I had their best interests and I knew they had mine. And you know, that group in 16 is as good as they were and as great as they were. This group was just as good, and for different reasons. And they knew whatever was bothering me and whatever I had going on, it wasn't like they were talking about it. They just knew, you know, Coach Brooks needs us and we need him. And that's what one of the moms came up and told me. She said, senior night, she said, I just want you to know, these boys know you need them, but don't ever forget they need you. And it was weird that the mom said that to me, because this summer we were walking in the neighborhood here and this car went by us and it was kind of relatively close, and then all of a sudden my phone starts kind of like buzzing. I'm like, and it was Olajuwon, and he was in the car, but the person driving, you know, it was a friend or something like that, and whatever. He's like, Coach Brooks, get out of the middle of the road. We need you. Don't get hit by a car. We need you. You know. Yeah. So it was kind of, you know, and we kind of joked about it and laughed and everything like that. But then it kind of went back at the end of the season when that mom, she came up to me, she was holding my jacket, and she said, you know, I know, and you know, these boys need you, and you need them. that was kind of the whole perfect storm of this group.
Right. Elijah Wan, what was it like, coaching a guy like that who was, he was very expressive and very emotional, very loud, and I mean he's like that with his game and also who he is as a person.
Well, you never had to calm. Well, I probably needed to calm him down some, but you never had to get him hyped up to play. No, I just told him he was he was a 4-year football player, 3-year varsity guy, and but I constantly was pumping him up. It's like you are the guy of this football team. You look back when Clay got hurt, and that team probably would have never made the playoffs had Elijah Wan not grabbed that team by the shoulder and said, "Look, we're gonna go do this, and just trust me." And those kids trusted the heck out of him. And, he is just a passionate, born leader. And I just kept telling him, I said, you are capable of big things. I said, I'm going to put you in a position to make those big things. And that was one thing we embraced so long that night at Eastern Wayne. And I just kept, I was holding him, and he was like holding me even tighter. And he just kept saying, we did it, we did it, we did it. Everything you talked about, we did it. And it wasn't I did it or you did it, it was we did it. And, we didn't win a conference championship. We didn't go past the first round, but we did so many things that we set out 3 years ago that we said we were going to do by the time they were seniors. And, it was a tremendous moment. It's things that take me back. We have our banquet Monday night. And it's things like that I've been constantly writing in my speech and things like that this week. Reminiscing about and thinking about, and we got all of them together Wednesday morning, and it was the first time I'd had all of them in a room together just with me, and I was like, dang, I've missed you guys, and we had some jokes and some banter, and I'm sure it would be a lot of that and tears Monday night.
Right. Of course. How do you think, you can kind of move on now from the senior class and start, building towards 2020, because I know that was one thing that Elijah Wan immediately said. He's like, Clay, you're the guy. Yeah. So how do you start trying to move past this group now?
Well, here's my belief. I take, and this is where stats and records get misconstrued is, so you take our JV team the last couple of years, and we've only been 1 or 2 wins here or there, and everybody wants to know, well, what's the problem? Well, there's not really a problem. I take the best 10 to 12 sophomores that I think by the time they're seniors can be dudes, and they come with us, and it's almost like a redshirt year. They play a lot of special teams, but they learn how to be a varsity player. They learn what it's like to be in the varsity locker room. They learn how to get fed on Friday night, how to go through a pregame. They learn how to practice, and then they learn how to play. So by the time they're juniors, they contribute, and then by the time they're seniors, they're dudes. So you take guys like Dalton Barfield, or you take Harrison Hansen, you take Clay for that matter, Torrey DeLone, him and even Hunter Robinson. He played quite a bit as a sophomore and junior, but you take those guys in that core group of seniors, they learn how to practice as sophomores with us, because that could have left them down in the JV, and they could have been the guy down there, and the JV record could be a lot better than it is. But would those freshmen had got all the experience that they needed? Probably not. And would those sophomores, when they were juniors, have a false sense of where they are when they come to the varsity? Absolutely. Would they know how to handle themselves? No. So I think it's my personal belief, bring them with us as sophomores, make them learn how to be a varsity player so they can contribute and play as seniors and juniors and seniors. And if you ask Clay, if you ask Dalton, you ask Harrison, you ask Torrey, they're all ready to go because of that. And that's just been my belief. So I don't think there'll be a step back from leadership or from want to or from how to do it, because they've been with that group that showed them how to do it for so long.
Right. So you guys pretty much have the same schedule going into next year, right? Because I know with football, y'all actually do contracts.
Yeah. So you guys play multiple years against certain opponents for out of conference, and then of course the Vaughn and EC 3 and 4 year schedule, of course.
Yeah, the SEC West.
The SEC West.
7 years I've called it that, and I said, Doug, me and Coach Horton were joking today. I said, can we get in the SEC East? You know, can we? And with the whole realignment thing that came up again today.
Yes, there are meetings going on with the NCHSA. They've approved and denied a few things, but continue. Sorry.
No, it's just you know, we wish from a school standpoint, we've been in this split now for 7 years, and you know, going into the next season, it'll be an even 8.
Yeah.
You know, ACOG's done their time, Eastern Wayne's done their time, Southern Wayne's done their time.
Right.
You know, let us go get into a conference where we're competing against the same number of kids in the school, the same type of community background, things like that, and back to some more natural rivals. Because I will tell you, and you guys know this, if we were to get in the Wilson district, or if that was, you know, if it was Hunt, Fike, and Bedingfield,
Okay.
or if we were to go the route of South Johnson and Corinth Holders and, you know, West Johnson, you know,
Right.
that whole deal. I guarantee you, our kids know more of those kids
Right.
than they do. Again, it goes back to what we talked about, the Greenville kids.
Right.
So we've done our time. You know, let us compete in a deal where we can get back to some natural rivalries where some stadiums are full on Friday night and more of a competitive balance. I just don't know that the state is going to. You know, it's weird. The discussion was supposed to be vote on being 5A. You know, have 5 classifications today.
Right.
Then it got pushed again back to the spring, and then if it gets approved, then they'll convene in December to make the new conferences, and then have a special meeting in March to say, all right,
This is March of 2021.
yeah. So we're, you know, literally, and Coach Horton and I were talking today. We're going to have to do football. So if we get into a 9-team conference, and let's say Goldsboro or Rosewood or North Johnson or Eastern Wayne or none of those are in our conference, you know, who are we going to pick to be, you know, the 2 or 3 non-conference games?
Yeah.
And how are we going to balance the schedule? And it's not us only. Everybody in the state is going to have to scramble to put a schedule together.
Right.
And you know, in March, and get that contract out
I know
probably
I
by the
saw-
end of April or May, and then
Right.
play games in August.
Right. Because I know I saw Cleveland football. They made a comment. You know, that's going to be hell scheduling in May.
And I agreed with them. And I made a comment right underneath it. It's just not fair. It's not fair. So, you know, we're the ones going to have to do all the legwork, you
Right.
know.
You know, the one thing that, I mean, there's like so many things that could happen with this 5A, considering, you know, Eastern, I mean, right now in our county, we're looking at Eastern Wayne, is probably moving down to 2A.
Yep.
You know, Goldsboro's probably going to stay where they're at.
And their appeal last year being denied is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And it's not fair to those kids or those students or that staff at that school.
Right.
It's not.
Right, because you're playing up against schools.
You're playing Conley is listed as 3A and has more kids in it than South Central. So you got South Central and New Bern that are legit 4As. You got Conley that's a legit 4A. And Rose High School, which is right on the border. So you're telling me a team that's a 2A level school, that's a fair advantage?
Right.
And that's what you hear the High School Athletic Association talk about, a fair advantage or fair play. I mean, their appeal shouldn't have been denied. And I'll stand up for Eastern Wayne all day long. I don't care if they're our county rival. It's just not right.
Right. I mean, and then too, like I was talking to Jay Wilson. We were both at a Goldsboro game, and we're talking like, he's like, well, you know, I think, you know, Kensing's going down to 1A. He's like, so he's like, I don't see why the state wouldn't put us with the 2 Lenore County schools. You know, he's at Green
He's
Central.
like, so Green
And
Central,
then he's
North,
like,
South,
Eastern Wayne, Goldsboro. He's like, that would be perfect. He's like, but he's like, I don't think that is actually going to happen though.
Would they include Spring Creek?
I mean, I guess Spring Creek would be, but I think Spring Creek. I mean, look at Spring Creek. They were a 1A school for so many years. And
Could they go back down?
They could go back down because I mean they're still at the same number that they were when they went up to a 2A.
Okay.
The only thing that changed was how many percentages. So I think that's another delicate balance. I mean, because talking to a Wilmington reporter, he talks about how some of the Wilmington schools are concerned with, hey, we're going to be 5A, but we're going to be a lot closer to 4A, just because we're like 25% versus the 20%. Yeah. So now instead of us being 4A, when I would be 5A, and we'll be looking at, you know, if we want to keep travel costs down, you know, we're a 3-4A, 5A split conference.
Here is the best thing that we've heard, and I don't know if it's out there. We got it as a athletic department, and we got it as a football staff. Greg Rantham, the county AD in Onslow County, tremendous. He was a over 30-year basketball coach. I mean, just AD. He's awesome, tremendous. And unless we misread this, which I don't think we did because we read it numerous times, the one thing that he has proposed is keep the the 2 championships, but only have 3 classifications. So not have 5, but have 3. And you have 2 champions from each one. But what he has proposed is kind of, I guess, like Virginia maybe, is that we play regions. Mm-hmm. So everybody in Wayne County would be a region. So it would be us, Rosewood, Eastern Wayne, Southern Wayne, Spring Creek, you know, and then maybe if we had to add, you know, 2 from the Wilson counties, or, you know, Kinston and North and North, South and North, or we just say Wayne County. That's our conference. So it didn't matter if we're the biggest and Spring Creek's the smallest. There is your built-in rivalries. There's your built-in lower your cost, because the furthest trip we got is to Spring Creek from ACOC.
Yeah.
And, you know, so people from Spring Creek are going to come to that game. People from ACOC are going to go to Spring Creek, vice versa, Eastern Wayne, da-da-da-da-da. And then at the end of the day, you take your record, and then that's how you're subdivided by 1A, 2A, 3A, and really becomes like a 6A. And that's how you do it. So you play local regions, and then your record. But the one thing, though, I think, and he would probably tell you this, it just about put 97% of every school in the playoffs. So
which I've had guys say that would be better, because
then it's at least an even playing field.
Right. Everyone gets a playoff game. Mm-hmm. For one thing, that'll be more money coming into the school.
Gates will be a little bit increase, you know.
Right. Everyone's gate season increase. And if you're doing it the way where you have a bunch of split conferences and everyone's going to make the playoffs anyway,
right? Then
you know, how can you really be mad with it? Everyone's going to make the playoffs. Everyone is going to have better gates, because every team you play.
Proximity would be really good.
And then plus you'll get to choose, you know, where you know your non-conference is, because I mean I've also heard where you could seemingly have a really big conference and then split it, and then have a conference championship game. Now that's something that, of course, the problem for that is ADs have to do a lot more legwork with that type of thing. But I mean that would also kind of.
I'd rather play a conference championship game than an endowment game.
Interesting. Because
if I go to your school for the endowment game and nobody comes, we don't get anything. We don't get that money, and then they don't drop that win or loss anymore.
Right.
So it does it, you know. And I know a lot of the coaches in our North Carolina high school, or Eastern North Carolina High School Football Coaches Association thing. A lot of people are going to 10-game schedule. They're dropping the endowment game.
Yeah,
because that money goes to the state anyhow. And then if you play somebody that you know, let's say we play somebody in an endowment game, and we're lucky we played North Johnson, so they're going to bring people regardless. But let's say we played somebody, let's say we had to play Cape Fear, and they brought 2 people. Then we've got to give them half that gate, which really it was all ACOT people.
Yeah.
But you talk about this regional deal, you look at all the people that were at the Goldsboro ACOT game.
Yeah.
You look at and you look at the people that were at ACOT Eastern Wayne on a Thursday night.
ACOT Southern Wayne.
Yeah, and then just take us out of it. Look at the people that, from what I hear, were Eastern Wayne. So you can't tell me that wouldn't be an exciting Friday night. You can't tell me that wouldn't go back to the way things used to be in a lot of places where the little towns closed on Friday night.
Right.
So they can see
football. Yeah, I'm telling you what, if Goldsboro came to ACOC on a Friday night for a conference game, and it meant something, not only in this county, but it was a conference game.
Conference championship.
That Pikeville and, you know, part of downtown Goldsboro, you know, the restaurants and stuff are not going to be closed because, you know, everybody's going to want to be there.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with Eastern Wayne Goldsboro playing. You know, I just think it would make things so much better. And I think things would be so much more fun on Friday night.
Right. The last thing I think we're going to have to touch on is the regionals this weekend. I don't know how much you know about the teams that are playing, but of course Rosewood was eliminated last week.
As was Cleveland.
As was Cleveland on a 74-yard run up the middle, 30 seconds left.
Oh, you're talking about that was Rosewood's, yes.
Yeah, that was Rosewood's loss. It was quite crazy to see.
I was in South Carolina, and I was getting texts left and right. People were like, "Oh my God, you're not doing this game on radio," and I'm like, "No, I'm out of town." And they're like, "This is happening."
I'm like, "Hello, I can get breaks too, right? Like I can do." But unfortunately, yes, WJG sports coverage area football season is over after the third round of the playoffs. Cleveland held a 20-3 lead over top seed Lee County. Then they ended up losing.
34-27.
I think that's right.
So this weekend, with the
we got regional weekend.
Yeah, so we got Northampton County versus North Edgecombe. That's for that area right now. That's pretty much looking like football town right now.
I think you mistakenly said Justin Hayes, and he's got to be having the ball. I mean, Justin Hayes the Valley's is going to have a heck of a time on Friday. We're picking, correct?
Yeah, I'm going with North Edgecombe.
Okay. I'll just to be interesting, I'll go with the Jonas Pope IV's Northampton County squad. What do you think?
I'll go Northampton. I've heard lots of good things about what's going on up there, but all of Edgecombe football, county football, is pretty good too.
Oh my goodness, they had a heck of a year. I know Southwest Edgecombe did go out, but Tarboro, North Edgecombe, I saw them all at the beginning of the year.
Anytime you're playing the weekend of Thanksgiving or the weekend after Thanksgiving, you've had a heck of a year.
Yeah,
it don't matter what you've done in the past. If you're playing those 2 weekends,
I don't know if you're Tarboro.
If you're Tarboro, when you're playing on the final game of the season, I think that's good.
Yeah,
and when you win the final game of the year,
they've had 10 straight Thanksgiving practices.
That's
they're
spoiled.
Yeah,
they can loan us a few if they want.
Speaking of, they are playing again the 1AA East final, a rematch with John A. Holmes, Edenton Holmes. And I think, I'm sure we're all in agreement on Tarboro.
No, I'm going Edenton.
Ooh! Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why Edenton?
Wes Mater, and he's
Wes
he's a great friend, and I know how great a coach he is, and their head coach is a tremendous guy, and he's been successful everywhere he goes, but he will walk up and talk to any coach and treat them and talk to them just like they're the same person. So I'm kind of leading toward Edenton. That's who I'm pulling for. I'd like to see Wes get him another ring, and those guys. I think that community they do so much to and nothing against Tarboro. I mean, heck,
they're here every year.
Yeah, they want the dog on everybody. I just think
they're like Tar-Bama. That's what they should be called. Tar-Bama.
Or Tar Georgia was sending Gurley down there.
Tar Georgia. Yeah, that's true. I think they probably would prefer that.
But I like to see Edenton get one, and so I'm gonna kind of pull for them guys this weekend.
Okay. Right. It's also a pretty good time to be in the Northeast too. Because you got Northeastern there, and then also you got Edenton Holmes.
Yeah.
Because Northeastern took down Southwest Edgecombe.
Yes, they did.
It's so weird that there's not any. So if you look at the play, it's a Northeast. Or it's like in the middle south of the state. I mean, there's nobody usually your Wallace's, your East Duplins, your Wilmington High. I mean, Hanover's got to go to
Lee County. Yes, New Hanover did win. So
of course, you're pretty cool with some a lot of those New Hanover kids.
Yeah,
Sean Nixon's boy. That's who I got to be. Those guys.
Are you going to Hanover?
Yeah, my dad graduated from Hanover, so I
got
Man, this is a tough choice because Lee County's got Desmond Evans who's going to Carolina.
Lee County, if you beat a team like Cleveland, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you're going to.
I think it's going to be a war.
I think if it comes down, if it gets close, I'm going to go with the upset. So I'm going to take New Hanover, but that's reluctantly.
I'm going to tell you because I grew up playing against his dad in baseball. If it comes down to Chase Nixon having the ball in his hand, Hanover will win because if he plays from what I understand, if he plays anything like his dad did, he's not going to be denied. So, and you know, me being a quarterback guy, if it's in Chase's hands, that's who I'm going to go with him.
Clinton is playing Northeastern, correct?
Correct.
So I'm going to take.
Who travels on that game?
Clinton is hosting Northeastern.
You got to go to the dark horses.
Yeah.
That place is too hard. It's too hard to travel to that place and win.
Clinton has been good all year, and they've been scoring a lot of points. I hate to say it because Northeastern did win the East last year.
I mean, but it's going to. You know what? I would hate to be on that field because it's going to be physical.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm about to say because
you better bring the big boys shorts.
Yeah.
You better bring everything. You gotta bring. I'm with
that
Coach.
East Central. Pretty much the only player they play is every single week you're getting beat down.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the competition of who gets beat down the less.
And Clinton has had a very impressive season. I think they're going to cap it with a. I think
Northeastern, they just like, hey, we got athletes. We're gonna come downhill right at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
of course,
I just don't know if Northeastern has seen that type of physicality all year.
That's true. That's true. Versus Clinton, they've seen.
But they have a win. What they do have is a winning pedigree. They Northeastern finds ways. They will. Yeah. But that's going to be one physical football.
Yeah.
Let's see, Southern.
Of course,
Southern National.
The one that I'm sure most of the coaches in the Eastern Football Coaching Association would probably have a problem with. Salisbury, Randleman.
Yeah.
2AA East Regional.
2AA East, and both teams are east of the Triad. Well, they are. Well,
they're in the West. Just go ahead and say
yeah.
So the state championship will have two Western teams in it next week.
Yeah.
They might as well just play an app or something.
I'm going to take. I've heard good things, so I'm gonna go with Salisbury. I think Rowan County football has had a heck of a year, and
you know what? I gotta go with Salisbury too. I mean, just with the way they did Washington.
Speaking of, I talked last night to offensive coordinator Perry Owens, and he said a lot of good things. He said that's one of the best defenses he's seen, the Salisbury defense. And they were down. They went down 20-0 because of defensive touchdowns. That's what it was. So I'm gonna go with Salisbury.
Yeah. All right, and then of course, let's see, what's the 3AA?
It's Southern Nash and Eastern Alamance.
Oh yeah, that's 3 single A.
Oh, it's 3 single A. 3 AA. We already did. We did New Hampshire.
Richmond and Scotland are playing too, right?
Scotland is playing Cardinal Gibbons in the 4 single A, and Richmond is hosting Vance, the defending 4AA West champions. Those are going to be some great football.
I'm rooting for Richmond County just because of how much disrespect they've gotten from the Charlotte media.
Yeah, nobody's giving them their due respect, and they
undefeated throughout the season. #1 seed and
beat Scotland. I mean, that's what they wanted to do.
Beat Myers Park, and
that's what the question. That's what I said. They beat Myers Park, which
who has an Alabama commit
Mallard Creek or Huff, right?
Yeah, they beat Huff.
Okay.
Yeah, they beat
Huff and Myers Park. Vance beat Mallard Creek.
Vance beat Mallard Creek.
Yeah, Vance and Mallard Creek.
That's all he talks about is Mallard Creek.
He's talking about Keith Williams. He's a Mallard Creek alum and one of the greats to come out of Mallard Creek. But I'm really interested in that Southern Nash Eastern Alamance game. That's gonna be.
If I remember right, I think Eastern Alamance was at the.
They're at the FCA, correct?
Yeah, the FCA camp.
How many bus rides east have they taken in the playoffs?
Yes.
They got a charter bus bill out the wazoo, don't they?
Probably.
Yeah, they probably do.
I mean, because they're always right here, right in this type of this round, at least for the past few years.
We got to give Cardinal Gibbons a love. They beat Wake Forest to end their winning
streak. Out of New Bern.
That actually caught me a little bit off guard, but at the same time, we shouldn't be surprised. This is what they've done to them. They did it to Cleveland.
They beat the Tar out of Cleveland too.
And they get to, and because of the seeding how it played out, now they get to host in Scotland. But that's going to be another great game.
Scotland versus Cardinal Gibbons.
Yes, that's the 4 single A. Yeah. Man, I don't know who to pick.
Yeah, I'm going with Cardinal Gibbons though, just because.
I'll go with Cardinal Gibbons because they beat New Bern.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I'm with them. I know, but I think Scotland's going to give them a really good game. They're going to be treated out there.
The 4AA East is Wake Forest and
Leesville Road.
Yeah, it don't matter. It's Wake Forest.
Well, there are some people that think Leesville Road can pull off the upset, but I'm going to go with Wake too.
Yeah, you got to go with Wake Forest. Now that's
It's just like Dabo and Clemson. I mean, Clemson hadn't lost in 2 years, and people were saying, well, they
we're gonna pick Alabama.
They shouldn't be in the playoffs. I mean, it's Wake Forest. I mean, they hadn't lost. They've lost once in 4 years or something.
Yeah.
Once, and they had a lead against Carter Gibbons and it was
it was raining on a Saturday.
Yeah, it had to get moved. That's right. That was
perfect. There's nothing that football coaches hate more than having to play a Saturday or.
Give us all turf fields. County commissioners, give us all turf fields. We'll
I know Brunswick County. I know Brunswick County got some turf fields out there.
That's great.
Yeah, but I know we did some East. The only
one that we didn't do was Southern Nash.
EA.
Yeah. I gotta go with Southern Nash, man. Gotta go with Quentin Cooley, dude.
Do you think he's better than my man Zonovan? Is he better?
You know what? I had this conversation with Coach Ray at the Rosewood game. You know what? Bam did. Quentin has broken every single record that Bam set last year.
He's a bad dude.
But
man, I tell you.
You also got to consider Bam was probably splitting carries with Cooley.
Probably. We saw them both, and they're both phenomenal.
Yeah, they're both. I think any high school football coach would take them on their team any day, anytime.
If you didn't, you just don't want to win.
Yeah.
As for my pick, I'm a triad guy at heart, but I'm going to go with Southern Nash.
Okay. I was going to say, because Eastern Elements, they have a heck of a quarterback.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They have a heck of an offense.
Because I kept watching them, I was just like, wow, this guy's...
And they beat Havelock, too, so...
But it goes back to what Southern Nash does offensively. You cannot rep in 4 days. I'm sorry, you just can't. Unless you got 11 you got 11 Julius Peppers. It don't matter what offense you jump out in there. You can't replicate what Southern Nash does in offense for 4 days and get ready to play. You just gotta, if they got some dudes that'll go tackle the running back, they'll have a chance. But again, when that quarterback turns around and does all this, and they got 3 dudes back there that can tote the mail, I mean, you don't know.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I know we did all the East matchups, but I want to highlight one 4A West matchup. Grimsley and East Forsyth is going to be
because Grimsley is right down the road from where he stays.
I live in Greensboro. I've lived there pretty much all of my known life that I remember. But Grimsley's Jameson Stadium is one of the best in North Carolina. It seats like 10,000. We were there for East West All-Star game, so. Them and East Forsyth.
I'm hoping to see one of the ACOT guys at that all.
Yes, I
really love to get a guy in there. Maybe with Paul being the head coach.
Yeah, Paul.
Get one in.
Yeah, Paul's asking for nominations too, I believe.
Give him some cash. Hook him up.
But I really want to know how that Grimsley East Forsyth game goes because East Forsyth won the states last year, and it's going to be.
I would love to see Tay Jackson there. I mean, because
at
those East West All-Star games, the only thing you really can do is run the ball.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody throwing. There was a pass last year. I mean, Lamont Murray caught a pass last year.
He's already trying to go and recruit Nate.
That's constant in Pitt County. I get Nate Connor told him, how do you like, warming up on your future home field. The guy at South Central, it says, well, you go to middle school 2 miles from here, so you know you're gonna be a red and black Falcon. Paul and then Corey Skinner, the baseball coach at Griffin. I think they literally have given them briefcases from time to time. He don't need, Nate doesn't take money, he just takes food, so, Corey offers food or, come over to the concession stand, we go to a game and he gets hooked up with a hot dog and hamburger. I mean, he's like, Daddy, I'll go to Egg and Grifton. Thanks, man.
Like I said, this is going to be trouble.
I guess the ACOP will let you know I'm retiring in a year. So he decides not to come to ACOP. I'm sorry.
I guess everyone wants the MVP of the 12U flag football championship game.
I guess so. I don't know. The 7-year-old might end up getting more offers than the 12-year-old.
It's always like that. The little brother always has a little something up there.
Well, Nate, the oldest, he wants to beat you and he wants to destroy you, but then he'll help you get up. the little one wants to kill you, and then if you're hurt, he'll step on your neck to make sure it's still and then you're not getting up, and
just to make sure,
So he's got that fire in his blood that, it's the great thing about being a dad that I can look at the older one and say, well, my stud athlete is, your brother, so appreciate you. That usually gets them good and fired up. Usually I can get them to fight and have a little entertainment. That goes back to the golf course. I tell the older one, I say, well, Connor's, he's my golfer. He's so much better.
He's causing trouble with everybody.
Hey, I've learned how to get one of them out of the cart and get the other one and kind of have some space and instead of all three of us in a golf cart and crowded together. You know how that goes. It's not good.
Well, what an episode!
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Loved it. I've been waiting to do this. This is
and we really appreciate you doing this, man.
I'm about to say, I'm sure we could have you on another time.
You were a friend of the show before even being on the show. There's a list of people like that. They're a friend of the show without even being on the show yet. And we got some.
I'm about to say, you got a little bit more time before spring football starts.
Yeah, definitely got a little bit more time.
Yeah.
So, come in and talk about college basketball. Come in and talk about my Tar Heels and. We're not going to talk about last night.
Yes.
I'm not going to talk about the controller that I threw at the television.
I will. That was a Ohio State UVA game plan, and then they matched the class in the second half. But I think it's just they got thrown off with the big injury. I think they just got.
This is why I don't.
Kobe
this is why I don't watch Carolina basketball until January anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna watch to the finals. To the ACC tournament.
I'm just gonna watch. I'm just gonna watch and laugh at.
He's pretty much taking a little hiatus from all.
Basketball
sports.
has ruined me. No, I won't say all sports. Basketball has ruined me.
Just thank God that football goes
Professional
to February.
Basketball, not high school basketball.
The NFL playoffs are going to be amazing.
Woo!
You got what Lamar's doing.
Bro, they're just ridiculous.
Patriots are kind of taking a little, their defensively, they're still pretty darn good. So.
I'm about to say
the Panthers aren't going to be there, so
they'll
give me a $5 ticket Sunday if they play at home.
Yeah. It was a rough week for Carolina, man. Dang. North Carolina professional
Ron
sport.
Rivera and our pride in Carolina.
And probably will lose Cam Newton if they're not careful. The North Carolina professional
the worst
sports
decision they will ever make.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. But North Carolina pro sports team would make that mistake. That's just how they do it.
Hey, my Celtics got Kimba, so we're good.
Hey man, don't. That's what ruined it.
So he's a big Hornets guy.
Hey, Devontae Graham's gonna lead the charge to the Raleigh's finals. Yes, we're gonna do it. We're right. We're in the 9th seed right now. Despite we should be losing like 60 games, but okay. I guess we're in the 9th seed.
I guess
keep believing.
But I believe we're gonna stay there. But yeah.
I guess we can start the think pieces. Is Devontae Graham better than Walker?
I'm gonna come back to SB Nation just to write that troll piece and then leave.
Because that is exactly how NBA Twitter works.
Yes, it is.
And that is the fun thing about NBA Twitter.
The worst thing ever.
Yeah, because this guy, he's an SB Nation blogger, so
I was.
He was an SB Nation blogger. Nice. So he.
I promise you, I'm nobody, people.
So
I really am.
He's been
really not
me
neither. No, you're one of the best coaches in the state. I tell you.
I'm way at the bottom of the list. There's so many better than me.
But this has been one heck of an episode.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, of course. Thank you again, man.
Of course, Coach. Anytime.
You can follow at WJG_sports on Twitter, WJG Sports Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Almost at 500 subs on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So it's growing, right? We're just trying to grow something.
And of course, if you wanna,
we'll see Hootie come to our social media.
And of course, at ACOP football, correct?
Yep.
At what's your?
I think it's ACOP. ACOP football.
Brooks Coach.
Brooks Coach. Twitter. If you want to follow, it's
Yeah, and see what a football coach does in the off season.
There's no
football. At MMJ Kai Jones.
Yeah.
At StrikerNation24_. That's it. 22 episodes down, huh?
Yeah, 22 episodes.
That's awesome.
Man,
I'll do a great job.
And look out for basketball content coming soon.
Yes, sir.